Welcome to this DataStream tutorial explaining how to find data for stock indices. Before watching this tutorial, we recommend that you first work through the guide, logging on and getting started with DataStream, or that you've watched that tutorial. And we also recommend that you begin with our first video tutorial, which is company and equity data, as it goes through the steps a little more slowly with a bit more detail. I have DataStream open. And I also have Excel open, so I'm on the DataStream tab, and I'm going to search for the FTSE 100 to begin with. So I click on Time Series Request, and then I select Find Series. Now I'm in the navigator, which helps us to find the codes, but it remembers the last thing you did, so it's still open on commodities. So in order to clear that, I just need to click on the cross here. Now I can choose Single Category, and I can choose the equity indices, which is the part of the database that I need to be in for my search. Now I'm ready to search for FTSE 100 and click on search. It comes back with a list of matching codes. If I want to make sure I've got the right one, I simply click on it, and then the information about that code appears below. It's usually the one with the most stars is the one that you're after, so it's the top one in my case. It's got a 36-year history, and it gives me more information about it here on these links which are clickable. So I tick in the box and I say use. That puts that code into my time series request. Now if I want aggregate data about the FTSE, the combined values of all the companies within it, I can stay with it as it is. But if I'd like individual companies separated out, then I need to put an L in front of this code in order to tell the database that I want each company within it specified within the returned data. So I've put the L in. Now that's automatically made this display time series for each item in list. That's what I want, so I also tick that. Now beneath that I get the option to choose the data types that I'd like. The default is set to price, so if you leave it blank and just run with the search, it will return the price for each company in the data set. But if you want something specific, go search for it, click on data types. That takes you to the navigator. Make sure that you're still within equity indices, which we are, and then you can search for the variable you want. I've recently searched for market value, so that's still here. If it wasn't up here, it would be blank. It would look like this. I'd need to choose equity indices, and then I'd need to search for market value. So I'll just show you that search. And search. So the top one is the one I want. It's got 3 stars. That usually means it's the one that you're after. Click on it to get information about the variable, even how it's calculated if that's what you need to know, and the countries for which that indice is available. And tick it to say you want to use it, and then also click on use, and that returns the variable to your time series request box. So now we just need to fill out the rest of this form. You need to say the start date that you want. The default is always for the last 2 years minus 2y, but you can change that to a different number of years if you want. For example, minus 10y for the last 10 years. Just make sure that the variable you've selected does allow for that length of time series analysis. Or you could put in a start date and an end date. I'm going to leave the frequency daily. That information is available for the code that I chose. But if it weren't, I'd have to select one of these options instead, but I know it's daily data, so I can keep it like that. I want row titles, column titles, headings, and I want the currency displayed. I want the button embedded and visible, but I do not want auto refresh, and now I'm ready to submit my inquiry. That will just take a little while to chunter through because it's got a lot of companies to return data on. Okay, it's finished doing that. So you can see the date range that I've got the last 2 years, and we've got the name of each company. And then if I just open up these a little bit wider, you can see that it is the market value that I've got returned for each one. Okay, so that's how you run a search on an indice. You can also, if you want, use DataStream to return information on the sectors or industries that each company falls within. So I'm going to show you how to do that with a static request. So I'm going to just open a new sheet now down at the bottom and choose static request. And I'm going to show you how to do this with the NASDAQ 100. So in the Find Series, with the Find Series button, I'm going to return to the navigator to do my search. And I just need to make sure that I'm still in equity indices, which I am. Now I can search for the NASDAQ and click on search. It's the NASDAQ 100 that I want. Slightly odd is that it doesn't have a box next to it for me to say use. That is a little strange. Also, if I look beneath it, let's just click on that so I can show you this. It says it's got 101 constituents, so it has got a full list of each constituent company within it, so this should work. But as I don't have a box to tick to say use, instead I'm just going to click on the symbol. This is another way of getting the information into the search box, so I'll click that. And that transports the information back into my static request box. Note that it already has the L in front of it, telling the database that I want each constituent of the list. Therefore I want each named company. Now just beneath that, I need to tell it to return name so that I know which company is which, and also I want the industry name and the sector name for each country. Each company. So for that I need to put in this code ICBIN, comma, and then ICBSN. ICBSN tells the database to return the sector name, and ICBIN tells it to return the industry name, and name tells it to give me the name of the particular companies. Okay, I don't need to put in a date, because this is a static request, it's just today, and I want the normal headings displayed here. That currency is not relevant, so I'll deselect that and then submit. Okay, what I've now got then is the constituents of the NASDAQ 100 in alphabetical order, and then for each company it tells me the industry name that it falls within and also the sector name, and you've got the full list there. Now it might be that you'd prefer to have the data round the other way, so I'll just show you how to do that. If we right click on refresh and choose the editor, note that an option here in the table is transpose data. So if we do that, then it will be horizontal across the page. Let's resubmit and see whether that makes it easier to view. I think that's probably better. Okay, that brings us to the end of this tutorial on finding data within indices. I hope that was helpful.